Howdy folks, I'm Brian, and here's some Reddit. Alright, our first letter is titled, Am I the jerk for telling my mother-in-law to come and pick up her son, my husband, because he's sick and he's acting like a jerk? My mother-in-law is an ER nurse and a good woman to boot. She did a fine job at raising my husband, especially being a single mom who struggled. The only problem is that whenever my husband gets sick, he immediately tries making everyone's life around him a complete and total unpleasant experience. I'm convinced he does this on purpose due to how uncomfortable he is. Some examples of his behavior, just so you know that I'm not crazy, are him screaming all the time, getting absolutely angry at absolutely everything and causing scenes about it, barking demands at me to cook, clean, and cater to him, and become insanely passive-aggressive with everything he says. In these sick moments, he also finds a way to blame me for everything. After his illness has run its course, he becomes insanely embarrassed and apologetic for how he acted. Anyway, my husband has the flu, so he has been a jerk for going on 3 days now. He sleeps all day and all night, and in the rare moments that he puts his feet on the floor, he is right at my throat. Where's my food? Why didn't you bring the trash out? Where did you put my slippers? Why is the water cold? Did you mess with the water heater? Yelling down the stairs. Bring me more water and meds. No please, no thank you. He just demands. It's constant every single time he's sick, which actually isn't that often, but whatever. So this morning, I'm cooking us breakfast because he's awake. He's asked for eggs and toast. I hand him his plate and he gets livid because he can't taste anything due to his nose being stuffed, and he pushes his plate so hard that it falls off the table and shatters, which immediately makes him mad even more, and he storms off without cleaning it. So I called up my mother-in-law and told her that she needs to come and get her man-child because I can't cater to his BS attitude and work at the same time. She gladly came to my rescue, but my husband called me a stupid jerk for involving his mom. He has since apologized, but thinks I shouldn't have involved her. His mom thinks it's hilarious. Am I a jerk? You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. No, I don't think you're a jerk here. This didn't turn out the way I was expecting it to be. And, yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting this to be more petty than it was. He is totally a jerk here. You should not have to be dealing with this, and you're a saint for constantly dealing with his absolute nonsense. I think it would have been different if his mother was a little less good-humored about it, but if he gets this way every single time he's sick, then I mean, that's pretty telling. So no, I don't think you're a jerk, and I think that he's acting like a child, and I think that he is throwing temper tantrums, and yeah. Not the jerk. You literally don't have to put up with a grown man throwing a temper tantrum. Not the jerk. Apparently mom has already known about the mantrum since she came right away. Why do you let him get away with this? People who yell at you don't get to engage with you. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for telling a kid that she'll be evicted? Before I start, let me say the kid in the title is about 14, not some helpless toddler. Background. I'm a 28-year-old female and my husband, a 29-year-old male, live on the bottom floor in a 2-story apartment complex. Our upstairs neighbors are the most god-awful white trash family I've seen outside of TV shows like The Ozark. I know that sounds judgmental, and okay, maybe it is. But we have had so many problems with these rude, loud, and frankly gross people, and it's justified. The mom, a 40-ish female, works at a gas station. I go there, and it's the only place I've ever seen her wear shoes. Community laundry room, no shoes. Checking the mail, no shoes. Taking out the trash, no shoes. Mom's boyfriend, a 40-ish male, doesn't live there, but he may as well. I don't know what he does or even if he has a job, but I know he stomps around like an elephant and shouts when he's mad. I can't go on my front porch when he's over because he smokes cigarettes on their balcony and I can smell it from downstairs. The daughter, a 14-year-old female, mostly keeps to herself. She's super skinny and has bad skin, which is suspicious in an area with a big meth problem. She used to say hello in passing, but stopped after I tried to talk to her about the stomping and smoking and the waltzing through public areas with dirty bare feet. There was an older brother, but he moved out a few months ago. Now the incident. The mom's boyfriend was visiting this past weekend and he was being stompy, shouty, and smoky self. My husband and I were both exhausted from work and both work in the medical field. He's an EMT and I do billing. I just wanted to sleep, but I could hear him talking through the ceiling. Just as I thought they were finally going to bed, bang, bang, 2 loud crashes right above me, like they had dropped a brick on the floor. It was late, I was tired, and I had it with their noises, so I went upstairs and asked them to be quiet. This is where I might have turned into the jerk. The daughter answered the door, in her underwear, classy. I know she wasn't the one responsible because it came from the master bedroom, but I told her that if they didn't stop the noise, that I would go to the apartment manager and have them evicted. She started crying, total crocodile tears, and for some reason, that made me angrier. So I upped the threat and said maybe I should just call the police with a noise complaint. I wouldn't. That sent her tears over the top, dramatic sobs. The mom and boyfriend came out at that point and slammed the door in my face. I went back home knowing I'd been rough on her, but I wanted to make sure I had made my point. A little while later, maybe 10 minutes, the boyfriend comes and bangs on my door and yells at me that the girl was sure she was going to be homeless because of me. I told him that we both know that won't happen, but maybe he should think about it before doing backflips directly over the bedroom of people who work at a hospital during a pandemic. My husband says I owe these people an apology. I believe they deserved it for being awful neighbors. Am I the jerk? She spoke to the manager. And the manager didn't care. It's the only reason why I read this in this voice. I actually read this one beforehand, and I just knew that I needed to pull out my entitled Karen voice. Alright, so I think that you're way over the top here. And I mean, I understand that you're in a stressful situation and that you work in medical billing. And I understand that your work may not be the most pleasant. And I understand that you're struggling just like many other people are. This girl is probably in an abusive household. And you say she's skinny and has bad skin. But one, what 14-year-old doesn't have bad skin? And two, if she's that skinny, she might be malnourished. If these people are as poor off as you make them sound, then they probably need charity and not people to threaten them with eviction. I think having the threats of eviction were probably really scary for a 14-year-old. She probably doesn't have much, and if, for instance, the boyfriend is abusive, either emotionally or even physically, then, you know, she may be afraid that if she said something like that to her, that man and her mother, that she might face the business end of whatever violence that he, enacts on them. So I think, again, you're kind of missing the point that this 14-year-old, she doesn't have any control over what's going on, and she doesn't have any control over what life circumstances that she's in, and threatening her with eviction is, I think, just awful. Look, I mean, again, I know you're stressed out, the world is on fire, and things aren't very good, but you don't need to make it that much worse for someone who's in a bad situation. I don't know what to do about your neighbors. Your neighbors are clearly not doing well. And the fact that that boyfriend is around, stomping around and, making loud noises and he doesn't listen is frustrating. I'm not saying it isn't. And I understand why you would reach the saturation point. You shouldn't have to deal with loud, noisy, obnoxious neighbors. I really think that. And you're not a jerk for wanting them to stop banging around and stop making noise. I certainly 100% agree with that. Where you're a jerk is, again, threatening a 14-year-old that they're going to get evicted or have the police called on them. I think these people need help and I think they need charity, and I don't know exactly how to help them, and I wish I had an answer. My heart just goes out to that poor 14-year-old girl who is living in this horrible situation. I hope that everything works out for her in the end and that she ends up being better off. And I think that you should show her some charity, some kindness. You're the jerk. She's a child and not the one who deserves your vitriol. Maybe next time speak with an adult, because at this point in time, you've directed the complaints at the one actual powerless person in that trash family. Grow up and stop yelling at kids. I think that about sums it up. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for pushing my wife to self-publish instead of doing the whole literary song and dance? My wife is a novelist who hasn't had luck with getting published. The way she explained it to me, the process is that you write a book, get critiques on it, edit more, and then start the journey with seeking a literary agent. And then that's where most people get stopped. She's been trying to get a literary agent for the past 5 years with 3 different books. Every time she thinks that she's on the right track, it's only to become depressed after 8 months when she gets rejection letter after rejection letter. Plus, some of the agents just never respond, even if they have your full manuscript, which just shows how unkind the industry is. She's on a downswing again because publishing basically shuts down over Christmas and she knows that she won't hear anything for a while. It's hard to watch her go through all this, especially because there's an easy solution. Just self-publish and skip all the drama. Hire an editor and a book designer and just publish the book and enjoy what you've made. A ton of people do it and are very successful. She tells me it's not just about the published item, but about the experience of being a debut author with a real book at the end, in her hands. That she wants that moment where she sees her cover or she gets the call from an agent and an editor, etc. I ended up getting tired of all this and paid to have her book turned into a real book. With a great cover, I did it myself and everything. I was excited to give it to her and our friends and family, so I ordered a bunch of copies. I started sending them to people, and I was hoping that on our Christmas Zoom call with everyone, that they would talk about how good the book is. She found out and started freaking out about what I did, telling me that I didn't get it. It's not the same. And then she was freaking out because the book is online, and all the time she spent trying to get an agent was probably ruined because agents don't want a previously published work. She demanded that I take it down. I showed her that 5 people had bought the book. She's an author. She got what she wanted. She just didn't have to jump through the hoops to get it, which is, in my opinion, smarter than doing the little dance just so the little snotty literary agents can stop her from her dreams. She keeps telling me that I don't get it and that I ruined a year's progress just to be right. And I think she's just upset now because the obstacle is out of her way and she has to move on to write another book or do something that doesn't cause her emotional strife. Am I a jerk? So let's get this straight. Your wife told you that her goal was to have that moment, that debut moment, when she got the call from an editor or her literary agent and told that she was going to be published. And you stole that from her. And you didn't understand the consequences of what you did. Publishers don't want books that have been previously published. That's just plain and simple. And with it being online like that, there is a good chance that whatever progress she made is now completely destroyed. You basically just crushed your wife's aspirations, and you did it just to prove that you were right. And I think this is really sad, and it really shows what kind of person you are. That you care more about being right than you care about your wife's feelings. This was something that she was working hard for, and you were like, oh look, I have an easy solution. We can just do this. And then you went ahead and did it without her permission or her consent, and you published a work that belonged to her. She has the copyright. She gets to decide what to do with that copyright. She doesn't have to publish it, and she doesn't have to release it. It's her decision, and you stole that decision from her. If you can't see why that makes you the jerk here, then I don't know where to even begin. If you're going to do the self-publishing route, then you can't just publish a book overnight and expect it to be successful. And the reason why is because you need to have a following. You need to have an established social media presence. You need to have people who are interested in the book. You have to have people who are going to, buy the book. She isn't ready for that. If she wants to go the self-publishing route, then she's going to have to build a much bigger following than what she currently has. I mean, I'm assuming that she doesn't have that much of a social media presence. This was a decision that she should have been the one making and not her husband, who's trying to swoop in and save the day and show her just how smart he really was. So I think this is really sad, and I really think it's an unfortunate situation, and I think that you're completely the jerk here, and I hope that your wife's chances of publishing that book aren't completely ruined. You're the jerk, the book is her baby, her decision, your role is to support her from the sidelines. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider giving me a thumbs up. If you didn't, consider giving me a thumbs down. And also consider telling me why in the comments below. What do you think of my hat? It's very festive. I think the brim is a little high, to be quite honest, but I enjoy it. I got it because I wanted to be festive, and I wanted to spread some holiday cheer. I don't have any decorations back here. It's a bit of a gray kind of drab sheet, so you'll have to forgive my holiday decorations here and just accept the hat in as retribution. So yeah, again, I wanted to apologize for the sound quality from yesterday. I don't really know what happened. My gain on my microphone, I must have bumped it, because when I was going to edit the audio yesterday, I noticed that it was really peaked out in a lot of places, so I'm sure it sounds a little crackly. So I'm sorry about that. I try my best. Sometimes there's only just so much I can do. But yeah, hopefully it wasn't too bad. Also, again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Where's my food? Why didn't you take the trash out? Where did you put my slippers? Why is the water cold? Did you mess with a water heater?
Yelling down the stairs.
Bring me more water and meds.